study,
and play come together on a Windows 11 PC.
And for a limited time, college students get
the best of both worlds.
Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Whatever your thing, it could be anything. Canva helps you make that thing a thing. Canva is a simple online tool thing. It's a way to design with our magic AI tool things. You can social media your thing, generate images or videos of your thing, make decks or presentations to show your thing. Whatever needs to be done for your thing, Canva can make it an even better and bigger thing. Canva, the thing that makes anything a thing.
Welcome back to the Maria Liberati Show, everybody, and I am so glad you're here with me today, where food meets art, travel, and life. So what does food mean to you? Well, I've been thinking a lot about what it means to step out of your routine, not to escape your life, but to remember that you're allowed to feel wonder again. Because summer is here and travel does that, or it's not officially here, but after the Memorial Day weekend is kind of, yes, it's upon us. Food does that too. Even planning a trip does that. It allows you to feel wonder again. So today I want to take you on a little mental holiday. Let's say it could be the first holiday of the summer season for 2026. So whether you're listening from your kitchen, your car, or curled up with your dogs, this episode is your permission slip to dream a little, to imagine yourself somewhere warm, somewhere delicious, somewhere that reminds you that life can still surprise you. And because I love giving you something practical to take with you, here are my top 10 travel tips, the ones that make every trip smoother, richer, and a whole lot more fun. Pack light and pack smart. Choose pieces that mix and match so you never overthink outfits. Number 2 is to eat where the locals eat. Yes, this is a really important rule. Skip the tourist menus. Follow the smells and the crowds. Number 3 is to walk the first day. It resets your body clock and it helps you feel the rhythm of a new place. Number 4 is to learn 5 local phrases. You know, even if you don't the language of the country that you're in, if you can just learn 5 local phrases, the locals will love you for it. It opens doors and hearts instantly. Number, let's see, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So number 5 is to visit markets, not malls. Fresh food tells you more about a culture than any museum, and then than a mall, because most of the malls are going to have the same things that you find everywhere around the world, and it's not really going to give you a local experience. Number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plan one anchor activity, a cooking class, a boat ride, a wine tasting, something that becomes the memory. Number 7 is to leave room for spontaneity. The best moments are rarely scheduled. Number 8 is to take photos of the small things, a pastry, a doorway, a dog sleeping in the sun. These become your treasures. I remember the first time I went to the Colosseum in Rome, I spotted a whole bunch of little kittens in the corner in the Colosseum, and my favorite picture of the Colosseum is this picture of these little kittens in the corner, and I still have that with me. So take photos of the small things. Number 9 is to rest without guilt. A slow morning is not wasted time. It's part of the experience. And number 10, bring home flavors, not souvenirs. Spices, olive oil, local sweets, they keep the trip alive long after you're home. And thank you so much for being here today. And we're all going to learn some new things today with my 2 interview guests. I have Aditi Khemka, who's going to teach us how to change our habits and change our life. And Chris Gillette, who's an extraordinary headshot photographer, who's going to tell everyone how they can have a great headshot. You don't have to be a professional model to have a great headshot. So Chris is going to give us some tips about having a great headshot. So stay with me for these interviews. And my special guest is author Aditi Khemka, and she has a really interesting book out called Habit by Habit. She's also in the field of public relations also. Aditi, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Maria, for having me.
So tell us I guess I'm going to start with, what was your inspiration to do this book, Habit by Habit?
So last year, I started revisiting my habits, and I realized that, with juggling a career and a house and kids and a family, I had lost myself somewhere along the way. I had started slipping into some habits that were potentially a result of stress in my life. When you're stressed, you turn to things that seem to comfort you, except that they're not really good for you. So I decided to challenge myself and see if I could fix some of those habits. And what happened was along the way, I realized that the lessons I'm learning are really valuable, and I'd like to help others through sharing it. And that's how this book came about.
I see. And that's a great idea because, we all fall into that pattern. So I guess tell us, or give us an example of maybe a habit that you had that was not a good habit and you kind of reversed it.
Absolutely. Happy to jump into that. So I think I challenge 4 habits in this book, and of the 4, I feel like the most universal habit challenge that applies to almost everybody these days is a digital detox, right?
Yes.
We're all on our screens so much. I was honestly shocked when I looked at my screen consumption on my phone. So you know how our phones track how many hours you spend on each app, and that really shocked me. I knew somewhere along the way that I was spending too much time, but I really didn't know how much. So once I found that number, I decided to challenge myself to how I could best use my time outside of screens and live in the real world, versus a real world full of Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and all of those. So I noticed that the moment I cut down on my digital presence, my real presence with my family and friends grew. And that was beautiful. So I grew up in the 90s when things were simple. We didn't have that much technology like we do today. TVs and movie theaters were our main source of entertainment, which was limited. And so I kind of went back to simpler times during that 1 month of a digital detox. And I noticed so much about the world around me. I noticed things about people, about my kids, about my family, about my house even. We all have long lists of, pending projects that we're like, oh, I'll get to it one day. I started tackling all of that. And suddenly, my house was running like a very well-oiled machine. And I was learning so much more about my family. Also, a lot of introspection happened because I was going on walks without a podcast or any kind of external stimulation. So nature has a way of calming us, and I discovered there is such beauty in solitude, really just being alone with your thoughts. And that is what I would encourage everyone to do. If you're in the same boat as me, highly recommend doing a digital detox to really get to know yourself again.
Yes, that's great. Yes, I know. I was reading something that you shouldn't go on your phone at least like 30 until at least after 30 minutes after you wake up, because I have a bad habit of going on my phone in the middle of the night and as soon as I wake up. So I try to change that little habit too to help a little bit. I think it does make you more anxious when you're constantly on the phone also and constantly scrolling, right?
Absolutely, it does. It really does mess with our mental health. And, they call it doom scrolling for a reason, right? It's this idea that you're breaking away from reality to kind of immerse yourself in this world where it numbs your mind. and you just
Yes.
kind of go on till, hours might have even passed.
Right.
It's a real time suck. And so I feel like keeping our digital habits in check is really important for our health in all ways. And
Uh-huh.
I also notice a habit I have is I go on these walks every morning, and the days I don't take my phone, the days I don't have a podcast on, I feel like I'm really working through a lot of mental, checklists and even relationships, right? Mentally,
Uh-huh.
you're like, well, I got to reach out to this one, or I got to, do this for this friend. Whatever
Right.
it is, I feel like there's a lot more processing
Right.
happens that when we're not in front of a screen or listening to something.
Exactly, exactly. So, before we run out of time, can you give us one concrete example from your book, for someone, to get out of, say, a bad habit or get into a good habit?
Oh, sure. Okay. So, something that I realized about myself was that I was, using retail therapy as a way of also beating stress. And
Yes.
I looked at my bank statement at the end of the year and I realized that I needed to do something about it. And so I would say I have, so chapter one talks about my retail, how I broke my retail habit, and I give a concrete way of figuring out how to set your own boundaries. So what I did was with Target, I set a certain limit per visit and I
Uh-huh.
made sure not to cross that. So over time, yes, my number of visits to the store reduced and my spending reduced because I was very intentional about only spending on the things I needed, not impulse purchases. And my frequency dropped. So it all worked in my favor. And by the end of the year, I noticed that my spending had dropped, a good amount.
Uh-huh.
It's not perfect. And
Mhm.
that's the other thing I tackle in my book is, while consistency is key, it is not perfection. So
Uh-huh.
yes, we're human. And with, being human, we have to accept that we can commit to a habit and,
Uh-huh.
try to do it every single day. But there are days that we may not show up at 100%. We might be at 15%, which is just fine because we're human. So let's give ourselves grace and compassion. And then, as long as we get back on track the next day and do it to the best of our abilities without the punishing pressure of perfection.
Exactly. Yes, you don't want to beat yourself up. And I was laughing because I'm kind of a person that uses, I didn't realize it, but after, I started realizing I use retail therapy also sometimes. And I was realizing I was doing that when there were just these over anxious moments. And then you're stuck with all this stuff that it's like, why did I buy this when I have like five others, And so, yes, exactly, retail therapy. So I'm sure we're not the only ones that do that also. So, but yep, definitely need to get out of the habits and get more into, I guess, the minimalistic and simple ways of doing things. So that,
Absolutely. That's
yes.
that's so true, just this idea that there's more to life outside of, screens and shopping. And those are also interconnected because we have all these lovely influencers out there wearing these fabulous dresses or showing off these lovely, home furnishings or kitchenware. And, it is very, very addictive. It is very exciting to kind of want to buy everything, but
Right.
moderation is key. Yes, while we
Yes.
want to have beauty in our lives, let's also look at other ways to fulfill ourselves.
Exactly, definitely. Aditi, tell people where they can find the book. Has it been released?
Yes, my book has been released and you
Okay.
can find it on Amazon. It is
Uh,
an ebook and a paperback, so whichever you prefer.
okay.
I'd love it if you read it, please do review it so that it can reach more readers like you.
Okay. And also, do you have a website that we can announce?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. It's a Canva website. I'm a first-time author, so I'm still
Oh,
learning. So it's
okay. Uh,
habitbyhabit.my.canva.site.
there you go. So people can get more information on you and the book. Great. Aditi, much success with the book. And thanks for sharing your tips with the audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria. It was wonderful speaking with you today.
You too, as well. Thank you for joining in today and listening, and I hope you all learned something new. And please share the episodes with your family and friends, and please subscribe so we can grow our community. And if you have any special birthdays you'd like me to announce on one of my upcoming podcasts, please share that with us. You can send that to info@marialiberati.com. Or if you have any special topics you'd like us to cover or any questions that you have, please share that on info@marialiberati.com. And I'd also like to thank my producer for making this episode possible. That's Britton Roselle. And as always, you can find me at marialiberati.com, on Twitter or X at Maria Liberati, on Facebook at Chef Maria Liberati, on Pinterest at Maria Liberati, and on Instagram at Maria Liberati. And you can also find my Gourmand World award-winning book series, The Basic Art of Italian Cooking, at marialiberati.com, on Amazon and Kindle, where you can also find audiobook versions of the books. You can also find the books at barnesandnoble.com and the publisher's website, artoflivingprimamedia.com. And you can also find us on our YouTube channel, The Maria Liberati Show. You can also find videos on Vimeo.com. And until next week, peace, love, and pasta.